The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com. InRavio.com.
Welcome to our special 4th of July edition of Nerdgasm. Guys, what do you think of that title, Nerdgasm? Does it do it for you? Should we change it? You gotta weigh in, because we're thinking about alternatives like Filmgasm, one guy and two chicks, whatever you want the title to be. We want to hear your opinions. So my lovely panel tonight consists of the lovely JoJo to my right.
Hi guys.
Returning regular, and a returning nerd news girl.
Yep.
Deborah Hill.
Hi.
So now, Deb, you had a good time rewatching Independence Day today?
I got through half of it at least, and then the DVD decided to come out.
And she got through half of it, and then she got loaded, she passed out, she was just out of the equation. But she sobered up in time for the show, which is great.
Don't listen to him.
So, no, tonight and we also have joining us, this would be Heather is joining us, a.k.a. Missy Heather. Oh, there she is. I see her on the screen. Calling in all the way from Mars. Being that this is our special, outer galactic edition of Nerdgasm. So, how are you doing today, Heather?
I'm doing very well, and I'm calling from the luxury of my kitchen because Long Island is a little far on a weekday.
That's right.
So one of these days, hopefully I'll get out there on a Saturday so I can do this live or tape it at least. So.
Yes. Now, Heather, what are your 4th of July plans? Do you have anything interesting, exciting going on?
Hopefully not flooding. No. Most of my plans are tentative. I have a barbecue Friday, but the rest of the weekend, I'm actually surprised I have power right now.
Because you're in the middle of a storm
flickering.
Right now. You might completely blink out. Well, the good news is we're talking about 1996's epic film, Independence Day. Today we have a special guest who was in the movie. Can you believe I actually talked them into doing this? They'll never be on the show again.
No.
So, and we have fun facts about the movie. We're going to discuss the sequels. A lot of exclusive information that you haven't really read elsewhere or heard elsewhere. We're going to dissect it from top to bottom. Some people seem to think that only Godard movies and certain kinds of films are worthy of in-depth discussion. But this hour is dedicated to the epitome of a Hollywood blockbuster, Independence Day. It was released in 1996, July 3rd, 1996, and was a cultural phenomenon that all but launched the careers of Will Smith and even like Harry Connick Jr., who people hadn't really thought of as a serious actor before this film. He really impressed. People only thought of him as a singer. He kind of stole the show in a lot of the scenes that he was in. And he started, appearing in movies like Copycat and bigger roles, and ultimately, like now a lot of romantic, films and things of that nature. But before that, he wasn't really on the map in that respect. So the film's combined domestic and international box office gross was $816 million, which at the time was the second biggest grossing film of all time. It won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects and was also nominated for another technical award. And on the flip side, it won the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Written Film grossing over $100 million. So it had somewhat mixed reactions, reviews leaning positive but not overtly glowing. But my experience seeing the film for the first time was as follows. I was with my best friend. And we both were excited about it. All the hype was building, and we're waiting online, and there's this father and daughter in front of us, not from town. And they said, "So what you all seeing?" Like, we're gonna go see Independence Day. Oh, don't see that. That's awful. And they proceeded to take 5 minutes telling us how bad they thought the film was. And we're looking at each other thinking, should we even see this? And, saying like, Judd Hirsch is such a cartoon character, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They had like a long laundry list of things they hated about the film. And then we saw it, and we both, maybe they lowered the bar just enough, but we both loved it. We both had so much fun with the film. I think it's the epitome of a Hollywood film, popcorn flick, done the right way, in my estimation. But Missy, now you had your own experience seeing the film for the first time, right?
I did. I went in like you. I didn't expect much. I absolutely detest sci-fi and aliens and anything like that, but I wanted to give it a try, and I went with my brother. And I have to tell you, it's extremely awkward when you see Vivica Fox, stripping, and you're next to your big brother, and you just don't know where to look. And I just wanted to run out of the theater. It made me very uncomfortable, but not because of the movie and not because it wasn't done well, but that's definitely not the guy you want by your side when you're seeing, beautiful women naked. So that's my story.
There are guys you want on your side when you're looking at beautiful women stripping. But it was a PG-13 film. There's only so much stripping that can be handled by the ratings board.
Well, even if it's pasties or a bikini top, her comment of, "I can't believe that you convinced me to come in today." The big day, which you actually want to point out later. I know because you showed me the clip, but.
Oh! Don't spoil our guest.
I'm not saying
anything. We have a special guest coming up later. You won't believe who it is. And not only that, we have a reenactment of the scene that this guest was in. Now, I'm not sure, JoJo. It was back 1996 when this film came. Do you have any memory of seeing this film for the first time?
For the first time, not really.
It's all a big blur.
No, I honestly, I don't remember the first time I saw it. I do remember every time after that I've seen it, because it's one of my guilty pleasures. I don't know. It's one of those things, you see it on cable and you just have to watch it. I don't know. Something weird about it.
I agree with her there.
Deb, do you have recollection seeing this film for the first time?
I really tried thinking hard about it. I was too young. I vaguely remember seeing it the first time.
I remember
that means that we're really old.
Well, I definitely remember. I definitely remember laughing at the right moments. Now, this is sort of, the way that I take Independence Day is like Michael Bay took all of the worst stuff of Independence Day and started launching his epic blockbuster career. Because what Independence Day has over other blockbusters, namely Michael Bay blockbusters, is it's a plot, whereas a little convoluted, you can follow it. You get the semantics of why the aliens are doing what they're doing. All Sparks and all the Transformers film, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But at least in Independence Day, I get it. I follow the through line of the logic of the story. And soap opera subplots aside, I enjoy it, a lot. I'm going to get into the specifics of it, shortly. But Heather, let me get your review of the film. Now I've heard the circumstances of you having seen them. Am I mic'd? Okay, so my mic went out. So what are the circumstances of you having seen the film? Your review.
Yeah. It's in your head.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Heather.
No, so what were the circumstances?
Okay.
My earphones are dead, so I'm going to read your lips.
I liked it, and actually you just touched on the whole romance thing. I had a problem with the whole giving her the dolphin engagement ring right before you go. That just is too much like someone going off to war, and it's like, oh, hey, I might not be back, but instead of you missing a boyfriend who might pass away, let me be your fiance and pass away. Now, obviously, anyone who's seen the movie knows that that's not what happened, but for the most part, I would say like 3 stars. I can't say that I disagree with JoJo. I'm with her 100% every time it's on cable. It's just a guilty pleasure. You put it on, you're doing your laundry, you're washing dishes, and you're just like, this is something good. It's a routine. You have to watch it every year. I think the speech I mentioned to you, I absolutely love that. I think if we had a president that actually served in the military and got back in there and fight because the country needed him, I think it's fantastic. That's one of the main reasons why I really love the film, even though it's not realistic for at least our time right now. But I definitely did like it a lot.
Do you feel that, why do you think it gets the flack that it does? Because it is a guilty pleasure for a lot of people. People are afraid to say, first and foremost, you know what, I thought that was a good film.
I'm not sure why it does. I assume because, you know, it's with the aliens that they had and, you know, taking the scalpel and ripping them open. I actually thought that was pretty cool. And like I said, you guys know me, I'm not a sci-fi person. I much more rather watch something comic book related or a horror film. So I don't know why the person actually, when you went to see it, Dave, that those people really tore it apart.
It is a voice. I mean, I think that reflects about 1/3 of the audience, at least, that's seen this. I mean, it's not a wall-to-wall accepted film, and a lot of blockbusters
and
are.
Michael Bay is known for those solar flares. I think that's what you were talking about, and those really big explosions. But I thought it did well. If you're going to have something that is detrimental to the entire country and other countries as well, and they're communicating on how to fix this thing, and it just, I'm sorry, it just. I think he did a good job, and I'm not a really big fan of him. I can't watch the new Transformers at all, so if I'm going to have a Michael Bay movie that I actually like, this is the one.
Well, no, I was saying that Michael Bay is like a student of Roland Emmerich, who's the director of this film. Roland Emmerich is basically the more accessible version of Michael Bay. Michael Bay looked at all this stuff of Roland Emmerich, in my opinion, and sort of heightened it to a point where it became, you know,
too much.
Roland Emmerich on speed. So with that, I'm gonna turn to the rest of my panel. Thank you so much for calling in tonight, and we're gonna have you back on again soon. You're one of our regular Heathers. We only have 32 Heathers, so we have to always have you calling in. Thank you so much, Missy, Heather, and we'll be catching you very soon. Now to my panel of ladies. I'm first going to defer to you, JoJo. Your thoughts on the film? What works? What you think doesn't work? Does it deserve to be a classic in its own way? Considered a classic in its own way?
It's definitely a classic, without a doubt. There's a lot of things I really liked about it. A couple of things that were unrealistic, but of course it's a movie with aliens in it, so of course it's unrealistic. Not that there's no aliens. There definitely are aliens. But you know, certain things like when she's in the tunnel in the car, Vivica A. Fox,
yep.
And she goes into that little corridor where she finds a door and she kicks it. That would never happen. That door would stay closed unless it was, so it was like something wedging it or something that, you know, she had this adrenaline rush. That's fine, but she probably had heels on. I mean, come on, that door would never open. The one kid in the beginning, I don't know. There was younger kids. The one young girl, she's in the car and she's getting kissed by the guy, and he's like, "Oh, would you?"
Are you talking about the teenagers? You're talking about the young teenagers.
Do you want a diversion?
In New Mexico.
Yeah,
New Mexico's a lot with Randy Quaid.
And you know how many people would think that, oh, I don't want to die a virgin, so you know.
So that gets points for you. You're not deducting points, you're adding points.
No, I like that. I thought it was hilarious. The one part where the mother, the first lady.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Mary McDonald.
Right, when she passes on, and they've built up so many ups and downs up until that point, and the little girl goes, "Is mommy sleeping?" And Bill Pullman's like, "Yeah, mommy's sleeping." I swear to God, I break down and cry every time that little girl says it, and it's not even like anything too traumatic. I mean, yes, she passed on, but I'm like, no,
you think
so sad.
Dramatically, it hits the notes that make it successful. It's not. If it was a legitimately weaker film dramatically, you wouldn't be reacting to those moments.
Yeah.
It's the emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
That's something that actually, I think I do remember when I first saw this. It was in one of my film classes. I had an English media class because I remember we had been going over it part by part, and at one point he talks about that speech from Bill Pullman right as he's getting all the troops riled up and excited.
Today will be our Independence Day. First of all, you have the coolest teacher if he's showing you Independence Day. Most film beat teachers are like snobs and like, we were going to put on some Truffaut. You know, and Independence Day, that is a Hollywood tripe. But you have a teacher that took you to see Independence Day?
No, they didn't. We were watching it.
So, yeah.
We watched a bunch of movies in that class and discussed certain things. And our thesis at the end of the year was about like certain movies based on a thesis you had to pick in life.
Today, boys and girls, we're going to look at Dante's Peak and Batman and Robin, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
But see, now you
I
interrupt me.
I
don't know what I was saying.
You were talking about film the first time you saw it.
So he makes that speech, and up until that point, you've been happy, you've been sad, you've been, excited, and now this speech comes, and you're just like, yes, yeah, freak yeah, and you're all excited, and you might not be as excited if there wasn't so much of build up to it, yeah.
So now, Heather, well, your teacher was specifically pointing out that the highs and lows really are well measured.
Yes.
In the writing.
Yeah.
In the writing, it's like a fine piece of music, in its own way. Now, Heather, I'm so used to saying Heather on the show. I'm calling you Heather now, Deborah.
We are like twins.
What is your review?
I mean, I really liked the movie. At first, when I was little, I was a little scared of it because the aliens were kind of creepy. But I got over that. And
You managed to accept the film for what it is. But what do you think? Is it the strength? By the way, cool cat too. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Taking a page from Nietzsche right there. So.
Or what doesn't kill you really hurts.
Very bad. And whatever doesn't kill you will maybe debilitate you and put you into a coma for the rest of your life. Now, you saw. What do you feel were the strengths, the pros, the cons, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate this film?
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say it was like, I don't know, like a 7, 8. I mean, I like Will Smith, so.
Well, this is the film that really defined who Will Smith was. Again, like how to put him on the map. Before this, it was almost a gamble. You know, he's been offered to do the sequels, and he's asking for too much. You'd think after the failure of 3 consecutive films and After Earth, he would be a little more agreeable. But no, not really. What do you think weaknesses of the film are? Because I got some. I got a whole page of stuff right here.
You're more prepared. But kind of like what JoJo was saying, like when Jasmine was her name?
Jasmine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember, yeah.
Haha. When she was in the tunnel, when things were starting to get crazy, and she finds that doorway, like that was really like, even at a young age. Yeah, it just didn't make sense. So it seemed a little too much pure luck.
Yeah.
Sure, and there's probably a number of moments in the film that reflect that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite bad movie from the line? I got one. Exciting?
Let's hear it.
Exciting? People are dying out there. I don't think exciting is the word I'd choose to describe it. Yeah, that's Bill Pullman channeled a little bit of Alec Baldwin in this film. And I think that this, to me, because it's such successful blockbuster entertainment, it's an 8 out of 10. JoJo, what do you give it?
Yeah, definitely an 8, I would say. 3 for Vivica Fox's stripper outfit, though. Horrendous.
Yeah. Absolutely horrendous.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, no stripper in their right mind would wear that.
They do in a PG-13 film.
So, no.
But I do think that the performances, by the way, Heather who was just on, says she gives it 3 out of 5. That makes it a 6 out of 10. But there's performances are they're on 2 different levels, because you got the Jeff Goldblum was doing the Jeff Goldblum thing when he's the pause and
which we all love.
Start.
We all love that.
But he's thinking, but no, yeah, gestures, gesticulating, but thinking, but that's the important thing. And as Harvey Fierstein has never been more exaggerated Harvey Fierstein. But the thing is, I think you got performances that are very naturalistic in Will Smith and even Harvey Firestein, he's heightened. But then you get all these other performances that are almost a little bit like theater, a little bit like slightly campy, like Bill Pullman's, theatric Baldwin impression. And who's the other character? There's a couple of Judd Hirsch and Randy Quaid. They're all slightly campy. Like the performances, Judd Hirsch's performance is a little bit akin to like a George Burns impression. And
Randy Quaid was just campy enough, though, I think.
Yeah, and there's scenes later on where I have a friend of mine who has seen Randy Quaid on a set and said he's one of the best actors he's ever seen. That being the case, they should have gone with Dennis Hopper for this role, because I think that they would have had the right level of eccentricity and lunacy, but have been able to
a little bit more grounded.
Right, and I don't think it's there. I think I was complimenting the writing. In terms of this type of film, I think it does well. But what does not serve it, as far as I'm concerned, is that there's a level of soap opera in this movie that's a bit unnecessary. Jeff Goldblum's character happened to have known the president from years behind, and the president worked for his ex-wife. That's a contrivance. That's a soap opera kind of twist, and there's drama between them. I don't have time for this. There's enough drama going on already. They didn't have to work in these subplot soap opera elements of how the characters know each other. I mean, I don't mind it. It's not like, critics hated that aspect of the film. I don't care. It's just like just a minor qualm. The characters are still fun. The pacing is great. Emmerich, as a director, really knows how to build suspense. It didn't really come out in the subsequent film in Godzilla, but like when the aliens are first overhead, it's a beautifully done sequence. The cop gets out of his car. Cops who are usually so on top of their game, he's stumbling aimlessly as he stares up, and a car plows into his cop car, and he just stumbles and looks around. It's little moments, little details like this that elevate, just a traditional popcorn flick into something much more vibrant. Even opening up the film on this is the end of the world as we know it is such a clever little nod, and I think there's a lot of things about the writing itself that I really respond to. Girls, we've got some serious nerd headlines today, trivia notes, which I told you nothing about. I could read it myself, but why would I? Oh, look, the camera's on her. So I want you, this is the first half of our fun facts related to Independence Day. So I want you to read numbers 1 through 4 right there.
Okay, so producer Dean Devlin said that well over half of the dialogue in the scenes Jeff Goldblum shared with
Judd Hirsch
and Will Smith were improvised.
Of course.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of good lines in those scenes, and at least you got to give Emmerich the kudos for being able to accept.
He's like,
being able to let the camera roll. A lot of directors can be controlling, especially he's German after all. He can be real controlling. A lot of directors tend to be controlling, and they're like, no, my way. You have to read what's on the what's on the page. But he's smart enough to let them improv, and the improv is funny.
He's like, I'm gonna go see the president. I'm not even wearing a tie. I feel like such a schmeal.
Yeah, all that stuff's very improv. So what we got for number 2?
According to the liner notes from the recent La La Land Records limited release of the complete score by David Arnold, the drum rhythm heard during the invasion scenes near the beginning of the film are Morse code letters DIE.
As in, the percussion in the opening soundtrack of the invading aliens spells DIE in Morse code. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No one will get it unless you're a Morse code expert. You speak Morse code, right? You know the Morse code, right?
Yeah.
No one speaks it. Okay. Number 3.
Except for the biplane during the crop dusting scene, any airplane seen in the air in this film is either a model or computer-generated effect.
That's great. You know why? Because there's so much CGI today. Well, this is 1996, but there's so much CGI, and it is impressive when they have, actual physical models. Because there's always something unreal about CGI. Just think of George R. Banks. And our last segment, the last for now, is...
The White House interiors were originally built for the American president. 1995, and were subsequently used for Mars Attack in 1996.
So they built the one White House set that was reused and reused for what was used for the American president, subsequently Mars Attacks, and then for this. So you'll see the same set used and reused for different movies, which I thought was cool. Now, when we come back from commercial, we're going to have a little clip right now. I'm going to admit who our special guest is. Chat room, do you know who this special guest is? Do you know? Because, you know, whereas we could have played the 20th Century Fox version of the clip revealing who we're talking about, I chose to go to the Turkish version of Independence Day. So the actress, when we come back from commercial break, the actress that we will be showing, we will be interviewing, is seen within this clip, and you'll know who we're talking about. Let's go to the clip.
InRavio.com.
Hey, this is Gina Cotillo from The Gina Show. Come join us every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for celebrity interviews, Reality Reel with Billy Charles, funny stories with Brian Kinnear, and much, much more. The Gina Show can be found only on InRavio.com, broadcasting to the world. So come and catch us.
For over 60 years, Hansen Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hansen Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansenCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hansen Carpet has got you covered.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or a flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural.
And organic.
But strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
Paul Brown and the Killing Devils. Alternative progressive rock like you've never heard before. Over 1 million views on YouTube. New York City Village Voice says Paul is a gifted singer, songwriter, and musician with one of the best progressive rock bands on the planet. LA Underground Music Exchange calls him the only modern American band to cover every genre well. Pick up the albums Black Widow Tears, Red Spider, and The Wizard's Dawn, now on iTunes. And get to facebook.com/Killing Devils to keep up with the latest info. In Ravio.com. In Ravio.com.
Our special guest tonight on our special Independence Day episode of Nerdgasm is this adorable puppy that you could see in the interview screen right here. Yes, that's right. That was the dog from Independence Day. Wait, that's not right. This is Kristen Warren. Kristen Warren played...
Dutchie McStuffins. Dutchie McStuffins.
Kristen was in Independence Day. She's obviously gone on for a long, prolific career thereafter, but this was the start of her career. And she played Tiffany, this stripper with a heart of silver, not exactly gold.
No, actually, if you have to strip, which I've done a lot, do it in a PG movie.
Oh, that's right. You never have to, you never actually have to show anything.
In Liberty Heights, yeah, be a stripper. That's okay. Just keep it to PG or PG-13.
And was Liberty Heights...
And your parents will still have you over for the holiday.
And Liberty Heights was also a PG or PG-13 film?
I think so, yeah.
All right. So now, you played Tiffany in Independence Day. This was the beginning of your career. You had done Saved by the Bell, the college years, right around the same time frame.
A little bit. I think actually Saved by the Bell was before, and then I did Independence Day right after.
Yeah. So my question, beginning this diatribe of awful questions I have for you. Director Roland Emmerich is often criticized for putting effects before characters in his movies. Now, did he offer you much direction as an actor when you were doing that film?
Well, you know what's funny? I've always heard, and I believe this to be true, part of being a great director is knowing how to cast. And if you cast your movie really well, you have to do less fiddling, directing with them on set. You kind of let your people just be and do it, and you know, put it all around. So I wouldn't say that he did a lot of fiddling with the character or much directing, as you're asking, but I actually enjoyed that, and I found that to be very freeing. He kind of let you discover who Tiffany was and to just do your thing. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Now, how would you describe your on-set experience? If you're in a couple of pivotal scenes, I know one of the scenes is very effects intensive, and I remember our mutual friend telling me back in the day that you were looking at like a tennis ball, you know, when you were doing that scene?
They had, well, we did one on top of that star-shaped building downtown, and that was crazy. Lots and lots of extras on top of that building, and I remember singing Bananarama songs, and we were up there for hours and hours just killing time and having a great old time. So that was fun. That was like probably closer to the feel of what was filmed, you know, the final scene that you saw in the movie. And then we did green screens on a stage, and yes, you're looking, you know, very up at something. A light, a ball, a piece of tape, an X, I forget what it was exactly.
You started just doing that reenactment for us. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, you know what? Everybody that remembers me from that scene, I try to do it for them. It's like, oh, you like that? Here, I can do it for you. Here's me as Tiffany in Independence Day. I think I said something like, it's so pretty, or something like that. Yeah. And that's pretty much the role.
I got chills.
Yeah, it was fun to do, though.
And what was your experience seeing the movie for the first time? Like, were you at a premiere? What was it?
Yeah, I think we went to the premiere, and I just said, I think to my agent, wow. And he was the one to say this about the film when he first read the script. He said, it's a real e-ticket ride the whole way. Really well done and really worth being a part of. And that's the way I felt when I watched it. It's the way that I feel today.
You know, they're making Independence Day 2 and 3. Hopefully they're going to bring your character back.
Yeah, good luck with that. But
So now, right around the time you worked on Independence Day, you were in Saved by the Bell college years, and my question for you on that show was, how often did you look at your lines and say to yourself, "Oh my God, I can't say this"?
You know, one of the punch-up writer guys for that show was Bruce Valanche. I love him. He's so terribly funny. And he came over to me one day and he said, "You know why your stuff doesn't get punched up on Friday right before tape day? Is because God bless you, you always make everything funny. No matter what it is, you'll just kind of make it funny." I don't look back and cringe at any of it. You know what I look at that show like? It's like you looking at your second grade class photo. Would you wear that again? Would you wear your hair like that? No, but come on, it's your second grade class photo. It's Saved by the Bell the college years. It brought a lot of comfort and a lot of enjoyment to a lot of people in many countries. I've seen it in every hotel ever that any trip I've ever taken. So I don't know, I just thought it was all kind of fun and funny. I was a single mom at the time because I was a teenage mother, so God bless the paycheck. I just have all good memories of all of that.
Well, I tease the show, you know, and the truth is I would still watch it. So there was something, you know, it had something, and every so often it would stray outside the confines of just being a show and have cleverness to it. So
I think it's actually the #1, the most watched show that nobody will admit to watching in the world. So, like, I don't care what you say, you've seen it, you've actually gone away and come back to see how it ended with no gun to your head. So that's on most people.
So let me ask you, what inspires you as an actress and what drew you to pursue it?
Chose me to pursue it. I think that if you're an actor or meant to be an actor, that it kind of picks you and you don't pick it. And I remember, like I told you, I was a single mother. And I remember I had graduated in high school. And I remember carrying my baby on my hip and walking by a TV, and they were having a little segment on the news about a casting director for Magnum PI who was holding an acting workshop. And I remember looking at that and going, oh, not only could I do that, I could do that well. And it was just kind of like a light that went on, and I went and started pursuing, you know, that area of my life.
Well, you know, a lot of people think that, but it doesn't work out. No. So in your particular case, you know...
Well, you have to have a lot of self-knowledge to know what you can. I like to sing, too, but I would never make it as a singer. You know, you have to be very honest with yourself about what you can do.
You know, as a child, I thought I was going to play in the major leagues. That didn't pan out.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So now, in Liberty Heights, you played another stripper. Was there a concern or any apprehension about being typecast in that role or roles, or any role of that in general?
No, well, I think first off, I don't think you can be typecast doing anything that Barry Levinson directs. He just invites you and you say, oh, yes, when, and I would be thrilled too. And that was Annie, the stripper, and she was so fantastic because I wouldn't wear anybody else's costume, and I dressed up like a school teacher and did my little dance in that. It was so much fun. So no, not because she really wasn't a typical stripper at all. And you know what? It was actually more burlesque because I think it was the 50s. You know, it all took place back then, so it wasn't strippers like you know in movies today.
Now, how often does the experience of being on set feel like work versus something enjoyable?
Every job should have a reason for doing it. Sometimes it's just money. Sometimes it's advancing your career. Sometimes it's to, you know, perfect your art form. It's all over the place. And sometimes it's all of those things in one day. Flip-flops back and forth. You're having a great time. You're not having a great time. This scene isn't going the way you want it to, or it is. But I like to work with a high quotient of joy. You know, I'm not showing up at work disappointed about my lot in life or my role, or I probably wouldn't take it or wouldn't have taken the role.
You work with a lot of actors, and so what actors or actresses do you wish garnered more attention?
Which actresses do I feel
actors or actresses that you've seen that are great working actors do you wish garnered more attention?
Oh, goodness. I worked with a lot of good people. I think one of my, Ashley Judd, Divine Secrets of the IS Sisterhood, I met my very best friend, Jacqueline McKenzie, who is just a untouchably talented actress. And, you know, nominated for all kinds of awards in Australia. I know right now she's doing a movie with Russell Crowe in Australia, Russell's directorial debut. And I wish her to be better known in the States. I wish everybody went, oh, Jacqueline McKenzie. You know, and that's what happens. You get to see people's talent, and yet you see what they're really capable of versus just the roles that they're getting here. Did that make sense?
Yeah, excellent. And what would you say are your favorite performances of all time in film, television, theater, you know, performances that you saw that inspired you? You know, at least the ones that come to mind, because that's a very difficult question to answer off the top of your head.
Of mine?
No, film performances that you've seen, like, you know.
Oh, of other people. Okay.
What?
You know what I love? I love Emma Thompson. I love everything she does. I love everything she writes. I can shush everybody in the room to hear anything she ever has to say. But her role in Love Actually was so untouchably good and perfect for me. And I just maybe appreciated the character too, just all of it, everything about her. So I'm gonna pick that one.
And do you have aspirations on ever being on the other side of the camera, or is acting pretty much the only thing you want to do?
No, I'm actually a writer as well. I've written a couple full-length scripts and have a book deal that we're shopping. I would love to write and produce. I think probably by way of writing first, and I'm just feeling out exactly which way I want to go. I have the attention span of a caffeinated ferret for the most part, so I don't know if I really think that I'm a director, but I probably would. They say that actors that can write and deal well with people are directors. So maybe that one day.
I have a couple of, I'm going to swap out a couple of my questions, if we could, for this piece of paper, which just handed me fan questions. I think it's Matt in control room. It's their fan question. So the question that he asked me is very simple. What would your dream role, what would your dream role be? There seems to be a missing word from this question.
Oh.
What would you...
I think to be somebody that could speak Russian, because I like to speak Russian. I study Russian, and I would love very much to do that. You know, do some kind of role that I could speak Russian. And then just, I don't have like a dream role, established role that I'd be going after. Just each character speaks to me in a different way, and that allows me to explore a different level of artistry. That's what I would like to do. Something I haven't done. You know, new is good.
Astronaut, Sandra Bullock, Gravity 2.
There you go. Absolutely.
And in this time, she'll speak Russian.
Yeah.
So lastly, what's next on the slate for you?
I am in the mix, as they say, for a couple different television shows, and I'm not sure which one we're going to accept due to both my husband's busy schedule. He's starting 12 Monkeys, and he's shooting in Toronto, and that starts very soon. So it would depend on where this would shoot, because there's a 9-year-old child and 3 needy dogs that need all our attention. So we're trying to figure out just what I would do next. We don't know today, but something exciting will be known by the end of the summer.
Saved by the Bell, the corporate years. You all become CEOs. That would be
How
great.
did you get the script? How do you know these things?
I am psychic. So thank you so much for Skyping in. You have no idea. I really didn't think you would do this, which has made it such a pleasant surprise. I hear nothing but wonderful things about you personally and professionally. So thank you so much for participating in our...
Well, thanks for asking me. No, it was really sweet. I had fun doing it. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us on our 4th of July episode, and you have a great one.
You too. Bye-bye. Happy 4th.
Happy 4th.
In radio.com. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
I want to talk about my favorite part of there.
InRavio.com.
Hey, we're back. I put my hat back on. I got my panel back. And it took all that time for her to put the flashing lights on her head.
I have a ring.
Quickly met JoJo. Well, JoJo wanted to say something about her appearance in Saved by the Bell, the college years. And what's that?
She had this one speaking part in one of the episodes that I just remember really clearly. And Mario Lopez was trying to bulk up, and she was worried about her weight. And he goes up to the counter to order like several cheeseburgers, 5 large Cokes, with the fries and onion rings and this and that. And he turns to her and he's just like, "Did you want anything?" She's like, "Yeah, Coke, diet, small." And I'm just like, oh god, that is so funny.
By the way, control room, do we have our next guest calling in? Okay, yeah. So next guest, you know who you are. It's time to call in. We are now going to go into our special information on I was about to jump the gun here. I'm known to do that. We're going to go into our second batch of Independence Day trivia. So JoJo, take it away.
Okay, Mr. Campfield.
Please.
Because the crew and audiences like the character of Dr. O'Kun so much, producer Dean Devlin and actor Brent Spiner, I can't talk today, have since gone on record to say that his character is really in a coma when he appears to be dead. This leaves the open possibility of Dr. O'Kun returning for a sequel.
There you go. Brent Spiner might come back for a sequel. They might also just be saying that to be funny. What's the next bit of trivia?
The character of President Whitmore was originally intended to be a Richard Nixon-like figure. The role was originally written for Kevin Spacey, co-writer Dean Devlin's friend from high school. An executive at Fox refused to cast Spacey, insisting that he didn't have the potential to be a big star. The part was rewritten, and Bill Pullman was then cast in the role.
Okay, Kevin Spacey's won so many how many awards since 1996? And they went with Bill Pullman, the guy at the star of Spaceballs. And what's our next?
Along with Anatomy of a Murder, 1959, Crimson Tide, 1995, and The Dark Knight, 2008, this is one of the only 4 films whose purely orchestral soundtracks won the Grammy Award for Best Score, despite not being nominated for an Academy Award of Best Original Score.
And the reason I bring that up is because a lot of people don't give much attention to John Powell's score for this film, but it's a pretty decent score. I gotta be honest. So what is our last segment? I'm a spaz. You can drop stuff. That's all right.
You are a spaz. The scene where Major Mitchell approaches a wounded alien and shoots him in the head at point-blank range was not in the script and added at the last minute. This was done after one of few complaint test audiences was that the aliens weren't suffering enough.
There you go. The audience wanted to see more alien suffering. Payback, revenge. Okay, so that is the remainder of our nerd trivia for Independence Day, and we're now going to our guest, Corey Dana, a film critic at horrornews.net. Let's throw him up on the screen, or at least part of the screen. Hey, Corey. How the hell are you? You know why I have you on the show tonight, right?
Yes, I do.
To voice opposition. You're one of those guys that does not like Independence Day. I want to hear why.
Well, when I first seen it, I just pretty much, my big thing was Will Smith.
Oh, okay.
I don't like Will Smith.
Okay, that becomes very subjective. Okay, what about, is it anything in his portrayal of the character that made you say, I don't like it? Is it an arrogance thing? Is it, do you think that he lacks conviction to what he does? That's the important question.
Yeah, you know, I kind of think, I don't know. It's his screen presence. I don't like his screen presence.
In everything?
In anything.
Really? Even Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
I hate Fresh Prince.
Okay.
So he was my main detraction from the film.
Okay, and because of, well, I got some news for you. He's not going to be in the sequels.
And when I read that, I said, well, maybe I'll check it out.
He's a big movie star. So it's just something about him personally. How much of your criticism of the film ties into him? I'm sure you must not like other things. You can't pan the film for...
No, I don't pan it just for him. And usually, like the first hour of that film, it almost mirrored, at least for me, it mirrored V, the original miniseries. And I thought the way, you know, it's a similar theme, you know, for that first hour of the film, you know, it's a similar theme to what, you know, the same invasion in V. And I thought there was more conviction in that miniseries than in that film.
It's interesting, but the film didn't have Robert Englund, and that's part of the problem. If Independence Day had Robert Englund as a sympathetic alien, it would have been, Mark Singer, it would have been a whole different story. It might have worked for you.
And another thing that really bothers me is that, you know, I like Patrick Tatopoulos as a designer, but I hate the alien design in that movie.
The design of the alien itself.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll bring something up. I'm not crazy about the alien. It almost looks like it's an homage to Alien, Predator, and Aliens. And I'm thinking if it's a race that's this advanced, how do they develop all these machineries with squid-like hands? How do they pilot ships? There's a logic thing that I had an issue with in terms of like how could it seems more like just a predator that's like a bottom feeder, the way that the creatures are designed, versus a creature that's highly sophisticated that can create this kind of technology that's light years beyond ours. That's one issue that I had with how the alien looked. I never particularly cared for the way that they portrayed the aliens in the film, but since so much of it is behind the scenes, you know, since you don't see so much of the aliens and they're more just hidden behind spacecrafts, it didn't bother me so much.
But you did like the mirrored eyes.
I did like visually the mirrored eyes. I thought that was a cool aspect.
Yeah.
But, you know, them having the squid hands. I mean, how do you pilot a ship with hands like those? It's like, that's not going to change gear.
They do it with their mind.
I guess you could say that they're more of a mentally based. Yeah, you got it going on there.
I had to do it.
Okay, so we're going to go into our question of the week, and then we're going to go into some trivia, unless there's some last-minute bashing you want to give to Independence Day.
No, you know what? There's some things that I did appreciate about the film. I mean, you could tell that there was an obvious attempt at not doing everything CGI, and some of the old-school effects techniques were used. And that, you know, that goes a long way. You can see some of them, you know, the mats, blah, 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 all that stuff, you know. And that was cool. I'll give it that. And you got to love the casting. Aside from
Will Smith.
Will Smith.
He wasn't even in it until like way into the movie.
He's just one of those guys. He rubs you the wrong way. He might have reminded you of a kid you had a bad experience with in your, or a teacher that failed you, or something like that. And then you're like, I don't know why I don't like him. And you're like, wait, he reminds me of Mr. Jeffries. He failed me in 3rd grade. And I just sent this guy. So
I've never been able to pin it on, you know, exactly what it is about him I don't like, but I just can't.
Acting becomes a very subjective thing. So when people attack me personally, it's sort of like, it's okay, it happens to everybody.
He seems like a nice guy. You know, I've watched him on interviews and stuff, and it's just him on, you know, in a film that I don't like.
Yeah, I get that with my teaser character. So, sorry, I'm clicking the pen and getting yelled at. So now, here's the question of the week. And Corey, I'm going to ask you first, and then we're going to hang up on you. The question of the week is, do you think you've ever seen a UFO? If so, when and why?
And the answer is yes.
Okay. What was circumstances?
I don't know, I must have been 17, 18. I was hanging out with some friends out in the yard, and I seen this thing in the sky, and it was a light, but it wasn't like a ball of light. It looked, you know, like it was, you know, like a long rectangular thing of light just floating there, and then it, you know, zipped off really quick and it was gone. I mean, it was one of those things, you know, that was my first, you know, thought was, whoa, that's a spaceship, that's a UFO. But yeah, it could have been anything, but just my first impression. That's what I thought I saw. I wasn't freaked out by it or anything.
You never followed it up? You never saw anything in the newspaper? You never heard? Did anybody else see that?
No. I wish.
Too bad YouTube wasn't around at that moment. Could have put it up there. You got 1 billion views.
No, I would have had my phone out then.
Okay, so and we're gonna move on to the rest of the panel. Thank you so much, Corey, down at horrornews.net. You were a great critic, even if I disagree with you on this particular film. So we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for Skyping in. Deborah, did you ever see a UFO alien? Were you anally probed any of that?
Well, I've seen some freaky things in the sky, like, because I live near an airport, so we get a lot of the late planes coming in, helicopters, emergency stuff like that. But there's been plenty of times where I'm just like looking and I'm like, that doesn't look like a star. It's
so the answer is maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very okay.
Yeah.
And now, JoJo, did you see UFO? I mean, I don't mean when you're eating those mushrooms. I mean like the time you were completely clear.
Dave. I honestly don't recall seeing a UFO, but I do remember one of my high school friends was kind of a fanatic about that kind of stuff, and he would always be jumping on like the newest, baddest technology as far as video equipment and stuff like that, and he would just record the sky hours and hours and hours and then go home and watch it in super slow-mo, and he's like, guys, you don't even know, it's crazy. There's like traffic all over the place and there's just like streams of light everywhere, and we're not alone, bro. We are not alone. He's like, I got the proof. I got the proof, and NASA scientists are at my house right now. You know, like, I was like, okay, baby, okay. But I definitely believe it. I just wish that there was proof. But I feel like we're, as a race, too slow in technology to pick up on what's going on around us, because it's just too quick.
And my answer for that was when I was in 3rd grade, I heard something bizarre happening out my window. And
did they probe you?
No, I went to look outside, and I was so young, I don't know if I was looking at the coolest firecracker of all time or something beyond it. It was the equivalent of what looked like a tic-tac-toe symbol, just lighting up the sky, moving across it, and it disappeared into the horizon. And to this day, I don't know if it was a dream, or the delusions of youth, or if it was something that I actually saw. You know, and that's
maybe somebody slipped some mushrooms into your tea then.
When I was in 3rd grade, I don't think at this age, let alone 3rd grade. So now here's some before we close out. We have Independence Day sequel information. You ready for that? Okay, so now the release date of the proposed sequels to Independence Day. The first one is July 1st, 2016. And the sequel came to mind to Dean Devlin, because the originals were written by Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich. After the September 11th, he came up with the seeing how the world reacted to the events. He began thinking of a sequel. They gave up in 2004 because they couldn't figure out how to handle the story. They abandoned it, and then in 2009, they picked it up again and said that they had cracked the secret of the sequel. Will Smith was offered, but wanted too much money and was dropped. So in March 2013, Emmerich stated that the new films would be called, because it's 2 sequels, ID Forever Part 1 and ID Forever Part 2. That's pretty creative. Not. When reinforcements of the original alien race arrive at Earth after finally receiving a distress call. That's when the story's going to take place. Bill Pullman has confirmed participation, as has Jeff Goldblum. And the rumor is that it's going to be about, and when we were watching this yesterday, I made a joke about this, that it was going to be about the stepson of Will Smith. That's who it's going to be about. And it's rumored to be played by Michael B. Jordan, that young up-and-coming actor. So he might be the new pivotal. So that's the info I have on Independence Day. Thank you so much for watching our special Independence Day. You have a great 4th of July. Do not hold fireworks when you light them. That is a very bad thing. Everybody enjoy your barbecue. Kale burgers at my place. Have a great 4th of July.